If you're new to our channel, we'd love to have you join our little community. Just hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. We promise it will be worth your while.
It was late summer now, and I had been studying with Morag diligently every single day. Wendy and Sally had taken over teaching me how to protect myself without doing myself injury, and also Wendy taught me how to mask my thoughts from other witches, and more importantly, they were also teaching me how to be a female. One morning, as I was examining myself, I noticed that the rift between the two parallel lines on where my scrotum once lived had extended and had started to deepen, forming the beginning of the folds of my labia. The tiny remnant of what had once been my member was starting now to be pulled into the deepening rift and would soon be completely engulfed by it, as my urethra had done the previous week. As I gently pulled my forming lips apart, I could see an even deeper, darker section of the rift, a little below my urethra and just above my anus. I could feel myself smiling as I knew that soon I would have a vaginal opening and birth canal. Just over a week later, as I was curled up on one of Morag's old but very comfortable chairs, reading an article in an old issue of Cosmo. After my evening meal, I felt an unusual dragging sensation near my slowly forming vagina, and heard myself involuntarily make a weird ooh. This immediately got Morag's attention. "Are you okay, sweetie?" she asked with obvious concern. I smiled a little. "I think so, Morag. Probably just my plumbing rearranging itself again." "Do you want me to call Sally?" "No, I think I'm okay now. It just felt really weird, that's all." I assured her. Morag went back to watching her soap on the TV, a soap about cockneys who shouted at each other a lot and had really complicated lives. And I went back to my magazine, and it was just over an hour later that the dragging happened again. But this time it was far more powerful and quite painful. I screeched as I clutched at my tummy. "That's it, I'm calling Sally, just as soon as I've gotten you up to bed." Morag helped me up from the seat. I then found that my legs had almost turned to jelly at this point, and I was starting to find it hard to concentrate on anything. I also was starting to feel uncomfortably warm. Morag virtually carried me up the steep stairs and into my bedroom. She pulled the duvet and sheets back and laid me on the bed. I grunted as another spasm overcame me. I coughed and then, to my horror, noticed the pristine white sheets of my bed now had a spattering of blood droplets on them. "Oh Lord, what's happening?" I said in panic. "Morag?" "Calm down, Maggie. There is always a chance that this may happen. This may be very uncomfortable for you, but if you survive..." "Survive?" "Yes, Maggie, survive. Don't worry, we have prepared for this as best we can. I'm going to call Sally now." I wasn't worried. I was absolutely bloody terrified. I was coughing up blood, and I knew that was never good. "Hello, Sally? Oh, you're at work? It's happening. You were right. It started about an hour ago. Yes, just now. Okay, see you soon." Morag turned to me. "I'll help you undress and then put you into something loose and cool." Morag then helped me out of my skirt and blouse and took my tights, panties, and bra off for me. She then dropped a very thin cotton nightshirt over my head and laid me back down. And after touching my forehead with the back of her hand, she commented, "Ooh, you're burning up. I'll get you a damp flannel." She then left me and returned with a damp flannel and placed it on my forehead. "How do you feel now?" "Fnuranib port famoir." "What the hell?" "Fnuranib port famoir." "Oh shit, Aphasia, am I having a stroke?" Morag could see the panic in my eyes. "Try not to worry, Maggie. I promise you that this is absolutely normal for what's happening to you," my mind said. "But what's happening to me, Morag? This can't be normal." But what came out of my mouth was, "Won't chili Magda Bibelbrox. Shh, save your energy, Hin. You really are going to need it." I heard the doorbell ring downstairs. "Oh, that'll be Sarah back in a moment." I heard Morag going down the stairs and the front door opening, but after that I couldn't hear anything as I was overcome by another stabbing sensation in my stomach that caused me to double up into the fetal position as I screamed. The pain was agonizing and seemed to continue for ages, and as it finally subsided, I could faintly hear Sally's voice. She was talking to Morag. She was calm and seemed to have taken charge now. "Did you get the ice?" Yes, a freezer full. It's down in the basement. Start running the bath Morag, cold water. Then get 2 bags of ice and tip them into the water. Oh, and contact Wendy too, as it looks like we may need a lot more ice at some point. Yes, Sally, replied Morag. At this point, the pain in my stomach started to radiate outwards, and I started to feel a burning heat, as though I were literally burning up. I screamed loudly once more as the pain became too much to bear. I then heard several other people enter my room. Good, quick, take these gloves and help me to get Maggie into the bath. Be very careful not to touch her skin with your bare hands and hurry. We don't have much time, ordered Sally. I felt myself being lifted and moved. She's not going to make it, Sally. This is happening far too fast, said an older voice I didn't recognize. I could now smell burning and a smell like cooking pork, along with that of burning hair. Oh, Christ, look, her skin, it's blistering, commented another voice. Now lower her into the water, quickly, ordered Sally calmly. Oh, it was bliss, the water was just the right temperature. Curiously, I could actually feel something bubbling against my skin, a bit like one of those jacuzzi baths. More bags of ice, ordered Sally. I tried to open my eyes to see what was happening, but they wouldn't move. Concentrate, Maggie, concentrate really hard on sleeping, said Sally's voice soothingly. Was the only sound I could produce. I tried really hard to concentrate, but the pain was growing once more. It started in my stomach and began radiating out in waves. Watch out for the steam, girls. It'll scald you badly if you get caught by a jet. Then there was blackness and calm. Big brother, said a soothing voice I recognized. David, it continued. David, it's me, Mags. Where the hell am I? This isn't my bedroom, and what is Mags doing here? Oh, David, you do look really pretty now, and you are wearing a dress. Did you do your own hair? I looked down to see that I was indeed wearing a thin cotton summer dress. Oh, yes, I've been changing. Is this really you, Mags? I asked, as what looked like my little sister came into view. Yes, sort of. Your mind is creating my body from your own memories of me, but the voice is me, I promise. I've been sent to guide you. Guide me? Yes, Big Bro guide you. You are now at a rather important crossroads in your life. Your body is now in a kind of highly unstable limbo, being kept alive by Sally Morag and the rest of the coven, and I must say they are doing a sterling job too. They must really like you. Mags gestured over to a seat that hadn't been there a second ago. Have a seat and I'll explain. As I walked over to the seat, I noticed I was wearing heels, something I had not yet tried in real life. I brushed the skirt of my dress under me as I sat and noticed Mags. She was smiling at me. I always loved it when you smiled, Mags, I told her. I smiled a lot because you were the best brother in the world. Even when I became ill, you were always there for me. Is this really happening, Mags? My sister, or at least an image of her, sat opposite me. She was wearing dungarees and a t-shirt with her favorite tennis shoes. She turned to me and looked at me. Sympathetically. Yes, David, it is real. I'm afraid that your body can no longer contain the energy growing within you, as your mind is not quite mature enough to control the energy of the new chemical processes going on within, but your friends are working really hard to save you. Energy? Yes, magical energy, David. Normal witches have their entire life from birth to prepare for the onset of puberty and the release of their magical energy. This usually manifests itself as a slight fever before the onset of puberty. The witch's mind then easily controls the still weak power within. But in your case, and indeed with all men who become witches, it can become life-threatening, as the energy is so strong and the mind is rarely strong enough. You are lucky as you've already had some training, so there is a good chance that you will survive. If you want to, that is. So what has triggered it, Mags? The start of menstruation? Your womb is now complete, and your period had already started. But unfortunately for you, your birth canal hasn't yet opened up. This has resulted in somewhat of a stalemate within your body. It could be minutes or hours, possibly even a day or two before your birth canal opens. But whilst it remains closed, you are like a highly unstable, slowly ticking thermonuclear device. Could I hurt anyone? Yes, you could, but your friends are all working very hard to save you now. If, however, they fail, they will all almost certainly die. No, you have to warn them, Mags. They have all been so kind to me. Mags now looked to be becoming upset. I'm sorry, I can't help. It's not allowed. But? Do you want to help them, David? Yes, of course I do, but how? Simple. Just choose to live, choose to become a witch, choose to try and live a quiet and inconspicuous life helping people for little or no reward. But why Mags? Why me?
Said it.
The world needs good people working in the background, David. Good people that can gently suppress the more destructive urges of the human race. Witches have been doing it for thousands of years, and hopefully will be doing it for many thousands more. Could you be one of those witches, David? I don't know. I don't know if I would have the strength to do that. You could become a doctor. I could? Yes, you can be anything you want now. Mags was smiling again, and I was thinking of once again going to university to study medicine. Oh, David, I believe that Diana has turned up to help you. Is she okay? She looks tired, but otherwise she's recovered from her ordeal on the beach. Oh, and she's been welcomed by the other witches. I do believe that they are finally starting to forgive her. Diane, how on earth did she get up to Scotland so fast? By train, of course, silly. You've been in a coma now for nearly 15 hours? Really? It just seems like a few minutes. Tea? Asked Mags. Or pop? I looked to see a small coffee table had appeared in front of us. Pop, please. Can we have it just like we used to have? I asked. Oh, that is a great choice, David. Here you go. She passed me a glass of cold fizzy lemonade that she'd just poured from a glass bottle, and as I sipped on it, I noticed a lipstick stain on my glass. I could see Mags holding her glass with both hands, taking huge gulps as she always did, and she was smiling at me. What? I asked. I was just thinking I'd better start calling you Big Sis from now on, don't you? I looked at my soft hand holding the cold glass, and at my beautifully manicured, filed and polished nails, and remembered that they had been recently painted bright red as an experiment by Wendy. I smiled. I then realized that both Wendy and Sally were trying to help me along with Morag Diane and all of the other wonderful witches I'd met. There was no way I was going to let Sally and Wendy's daughters become orphans, nor was I going to let my friend Morag or Diana come to any harm. I need to go back to Mags. I'm just not ready to die. I've wasted too much of my life and I have many things to put right before I go. Good for you, Maggie. You made the correct decision. I did? Yes, you always have done. I noticed that Mags had now started to become a little unfocused around the edges and pointed it out to her. Oh yes, I'm sorry, but it's time for me to go now, Big Sis. But before I do, you need to promise that you'll do 2 things for me. Anything, Mags, you know that. Firstly, you need to help facilitate Diana's return to human form. Most importantly, she returns. And secondly, Mags was now fading away fast, and I was starting to feel distinctly uncomfortable. Yes, what is it? Please make peace with Mum and Dad. Mags was now almost gone, and I could feel myself tearing up. I promise, Mags, I promise I'll find a way. I promise, Mags, I promise I'll find a way. I could hear my voice. It sounded terrible and croaky now, but I could hear it. I could also hear other voices. What did she say? Asked a voice. She promised someone called Mags, replied another. It was the name of her sister who died a long time ago. That was Diana. Hello, Diana? I waited for an answer, but nothing. Can't she hear me? Look at the water, it stopped bubbling. Oh, thank the goddess, I think her fever is finally starting to break. Yes, but look at her poor body. How will she ever recover from that? I've never seen anything quite like it, the poor thing. She looks like a cooked lobster. The voices continued and started to fade as small stinging pains started to gather force from every inch of my body. And within seconds, I could hear a blood-curdling scream, only to realize that it was me screaming and overwhelmed by the intense pain I was suffering from every single pain receptor of my body. I mercifully started to lapse into unconsciousness once more.